I'm seeing. Okay, got it. Okay, guys, thank you for coming. We're gonna be painting a beautiful Mother's Day card in watercolor. And this is gonna be a fun, free demo for you guys. And actually we're doing a good time because you have a week. If you like to record it, no, record, no, record. When I print it, you can print it out and keep your original if you like it so much. So this is what I'm going to show you guys. I think my camera is a little farther away. Let me move it a little.
Sorry, Elvira, where do we print it? I'm sorry to ask.
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you. There's so many ways that you can print this out.
Yeah.
You can do it through Vistaprint, but the problem with Vistaprint is that
Well, you wouldn't have it by Mother's Day for sure.
well, maybe, but you have to pay the fast shipping or whatever.
Right.
And the other problem is that when you make one, you just want one or two. The minimum that they paint, they print is 10 images. Okay. Let's mute people.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute everybody. Hi, Patty.
Okay, so that's the thing. You can use you can go to Office Depot or Office Max and you can print out your image there too and make it into a card.
Yeah, I
There's
think
so
you can
many
at Walgreens too.
Walgreens too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm giving you ideas. So you better paint a nice painting today so you can keep it and make a print. Okay, so this is what I painted. And I'm gonna show you here on my iPad the inspiration for that. And it's the beautiful flowers that my husband plants in the backyard. So the color looks different, but it's different for you. It's not different for me here. It's kind of weird. So this is one of the roses. So that would be that. But as you can see, I took a picture of the rose and it's those other flowers are not around because I made up this bouquet. Okay. So I have this flower that I like, and then I have these other flowers. You see that? So I grab this flower and then I add the poppies to the side to make a little more interesting design. Okay. So those are the yellow flowers and those are the poppies. So see, this is what you can do. You have your beautiful flowers in your garden. You can take pictures of what you have and then combine all that into making to a different layout and design. So you don't have to copy anybody else's, it's your own and it's your own flowers. So that's the good thing about this. So I like to show first how to draw the stuff. I don't want you, Marcia was asking me, did you send them a sketch pre-made? I said, no, because I'm bad. I want you people to start learning how to draw this stuff. So before I do that, if you want to make just an original card, you can just grab a piece of watercolor paper. And the size, the usual size for cards is mostly 5 by 7 inches. So you can just cut it up and fold it and do the painting over here. That's one way, or the other way is just if you want to print it out. Okay, so let's draw the scene. Let's draw the painting. And I'm gonna grab my sketchbook here just to show you with a stronger pencil, because if I use the watercolor paper, I had to use lighter pencil and I don't want, and you guys won't be able to see. So I'm just gonna show you here real quick how I will draw a rose, because this is what Luana asked a while ago. I don't know if she's in the call, maybe not, but if she is, she asked for roses, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna have here my picture of the rose. So how do I do this? What you do is you follow the outline of the actual flower. So when I say the outline, it's just the little lines that define those petals. And that's what I'm going to do here with my pencil. So here I have this little line, and then I will come and do that curvy line over here, and then I follow here a little higher up, and then I go down. See, I'm going that direction, and then I copy this other one over here, and I go like this. And then there's a little one in between that I don't know if you guys can see. Let me show you closer to the camera. You see that? I will have that little line here. So I'm copying nature. I'm not copying anybody else. I'm copying nature. And I will come over here and do this other petal, and then this petal that is behind. And I will add this other petal right there. And then this other one from the outside. And then I will come inside here and I will just do that. But then it's a little crease over here. So I will just imitate that. And then we'll come over here and do this other one. And so on and so forth. That's what you do. You just follow what you see, the outline of those petals in front of you. You see that? You see how it starts getting in shape? And then I go outside here and then come and add that one from the left side, and this one outside, and then this one that comes lower down like that, and this one that has this little crease. So you can actually paint that little crease. So when you do the watercolor, you know that this part is a little darker, and then this part is lighter, and it goes underneath here. And then we come and do the one on the bottom. And then you have this one over here on the side. So that's basically the rose. You see that? Now, how did I do the rest of the design? Of course, I don't have that yellow flower here. So I'm gonna come and I see this, I say, oh, this one will go perfect right there next to it. So see, you see that? See? So I'm going to add it over here on the top, and I will do the same thing. I'm gonna follow those lines that you see from the outside of the petal, and I will come like that, and I will define this other one over here, and then maybe I come over here and do that one like that. And then you do this as a guideline that you know that this is the center of the flower, and you will have to put some darker value right here. So that's the second flower, okay? Now I added these poppies over here. So the poppies were in the picture, but they were not looking in the direction that I wanted. So what did I do? I took another photo and I grabbed the angle that I wanted to, and I added to the right side of my painting. So I'm gonna put it here so you guys can see. And I added those flowers right here. So I go like that on the outside. I come here and I do this, and I go like that. And this one comes this way. And this petal goes in the back, and this one goes in the front. And then in reality, the center of the flower is not as prominent on the photo or itself, but for a painting, you will have to make a little more expression, more value in the middle, so it pops out. It will show better. So I will just put this on the center as a guideline, and then I didn't put the 3 of them. I just put 2 of them. So I just use maybe this one or this one, and I added underneath. See, you see, this one is on top of this. So I will put it underneath.
That's a kind of driveway to have. Do you see all the rocks?
Yeah.
Can you mute the people? And here, and I have this flower over here, and then I add the centerpiece. Okay, so see, I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna start getting my design. Now I had to add some leaves to it, because it's not 3-4 flowers by themselves. That doesn't make any sense. So I would just, leaves are actually tricky, and I'm not gonna copy them exactly for what they show here, but I have an idea of how they look like. So you just add them up right there. I would just come here and add it up like that, in that shape. And I will add this one over here to the side, and maybe another one over here. And then these things, they have a little stem, so I will just put that as a guidance. And then I don't know if you notice how the leaves of the poppy are kind of interesting, actually. Hold on 1 second. It's telling me where I took the picture. You see these leaves? They are kind of interesting shape for the poppies. So I try to imitate some of that here. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but just make a little suggestion of those little leaves like that. Kind of like that. And then I will add some leaves over here. And then this part, I will do what is called negative painting. So basically I'm not painting them right now, but when I do the watercolor, I will paint the outside, the outline on top of this wash, and then they will pop up. So you'll see when we're doing the actual watercolor, I show you how to do that. So that's what I do. See, I have my design. So with this design, what I do is, I like it. Oh, this is gonna be cool for a watercolor card. I will just go and trace it with a tracing paper. I'm showing you all my inspiration on how to do this kind of stuff. So I will use my tracing paper here. And I will use a pen to trace this real quick. I mean, I'm not gonna trace the whole thing, but I will show you more or less what I do. And I trace my own design. Let's put it like, I'm gonna do this. This is the poppy, the yellow poppy here, blah, blah, real happy. And then I will trace my rose, you know, and whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna go through all this stuff because it's a lot of time. And then when I have this all drawn, I will use a pencil that is really strong, like this 6B. Turn this around and really rub that color on the back. And then when you have this, the whole painting done, you transfer this to your watercolor paper. So the watercolor paper won't have that strong pencil. It will have a more light pencil. Okay, so that's the outline that you will get after you trace it. I probably, when I did this one, I have to be sincere. I probably didn't do all that design and all the stuff that I'm telling you. Is this kind of like a process that sometimes I do? Maybe I just grab the flowers and I paint them directly on the watercolor paper. But if you want to be more precise or you want to do a better design, you can just do what I just showed you. So then how you trace? You trace with another color, because you want to know where you traced before. So use a red pen or something like that, and then you know where you already passed your pencil. Okay, so that's what I do for design purposes. That's how you draw something like this. Let's move on to the actual watercolor that makes the painting interesting. So I'm gonna move this from here, and I'm going to add my paper here. I'm gonna move my iPad. I'm gonna have the original here and the actual painting that I'm going to do. And I think I forgot to bring my tape. While you guys do the drawing, I'm gonna go get the tape so I can tape this around properly. I'll be right back. Keep on drawing 1 second.
Does anyone have any fun plans for Mother's Day? Oh, yeah, I think you're muted. Let me unmute you, Patty. You have to unmute yourself.
My son's taking me to the beach next Friday, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be fun. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it.
It's supposed to be, I think the weather is supposed to be continuously nice, I hope, anyways. You're in California, right, Patty? Yeah.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
just know that some people may pop in from other areas, so I just want to make sure.
Are you in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I'm in the Santa Cruz Mountains,
Me
so.
too.
Oh, you are. I think Carol is too. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Okay, guys, I found it. I went all the way to
good,
my
good.
bedroom and it was sitting next to me. That's how it happens. Okay, so I have the tape here. This is called a masking tape, artist tape. And I'm going to glue it to a board. The reason why I'm doing this is because we're gonna work wet and wet. We need to have the paper stretch. So I'm going to add this here really well and glue it pretty well to the paper, to the board. And I didn't want to do this because I wanted to show you how to do this.
Yeah, I have a silly question. Is that regular artist tape, Elvira?
It's called artist tape. It says pro, so it's pro.
Okay. I've never seen it green like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's so hard to find art materials that you can buy whatever is available in any store. But I think I bought this at the store in Santa Cruz that you like,
Oh, Lens Arts?
Lens Arts.
Yeah.
And actually, it's good. I mean, it doesn't bother me that it's green, but it depends on what you're painting. If you're painting something that it has greens, it will be confusing.
Yeah, sometimes it throws off.
But
that
this
color.
one is fine. I mean, it doesn't really bother me.
That's cool. It looks pretty.
It looks exciting. Okay, so I tape this really well. So I have, if I do the wet and wet, it will have a little frame like this one. You see that has a little frame after you take the paint, the tape off. Okay, so that's it. So I'm going to start with the rose for everybody. So what I do is, oh, my thing says low power, so I'm gonna take it off.
Are you wetting the paper first?
No, I am not. No, sometimes people do that. I'm not gonna do that. No, just gonna glue it like this. So let's use a number 8 brush, a little bigger, because this is a bigger area. And just wet your pencil, your brush. And see, I'm gonna start using that pink that I told Carol at the beginning, that opera pink. I have 2 palettes here. So I'm gonna use this opera pink right here, okay? And that color is a little strong. And let me see, I always have a testing paper to show you. I'm gonna have this little paper here to show the colors before I apply them into the actual painting, so I don't put it so strong. And here, I'm adding water to my paint, and I'm gonna use, that's the color that I'm getting, okay? It's fine, it's fine. Some parts of the flower are lighter than the other ones. So what do? You just use more water when you want it a little lighter, okay? So it's better actually to start light and then add a darker value. That's how you go in watercolor, from light to dark. So let's start adding to this petal. So I'm gonna start here. I'm going to put, I didn't add any water to it because I wanna have control to the paper, okay? So I'm working wet on dry. That's what it's called, wet on dry. So the paper is dry, but my brush and my paint is wet. So I'm adding that light color. And what do I do now? I put a little more color on my brush. And then because this is wet, you just drop a little bit of that color in there and see how nice you start getting those little shapes and a mixture of colors that looks more like the petals. Okay.
I was going to ask, Carol, did you find a round brush? Because if you have your square brush, you can just use the corner instead of the flat part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm using a 6.
Okay, so you do have a round brush, so that's good.
Yeah, I do.
Round brushes are, I was telling the students yesterday that I'm a round brush lady. I don't use flat brushes that much. I don't know why. I think I like the pointy part of the brush, but it depends on what you're painting anyway. I'm gonna add again some color to the next petal, and I'm going light, very light. Light, that means lighter, more water than paint. And you fill up that petal right away. And then see, for example, here, you see there's a little more darker value right there. So I will just do that. I will just come with the same color, more paint on my brush, and I will drop that color right there and see how exciting it starts getting. But don't fill out the whole petal, just one little side of it. You see that? I wish I could move the board close to the camera. Maybe I do that in a little when I have more here. Okay. Let's do the same thing on this other one. And very light, you fill it up all the way, and then you put darker value here. So what I did here, this is interesting because I'm not using the same color like I did in the other ones. I used a little bit of alizarin and crimson, which is this darker red. And I dropped that color in there to make it more interesting because it gets boring after a while to use just the same color over and over again. So I'm gonna just drop a little bit of that color there and see. You can even combine it with the other color, with the pink. So here, you see that? And you have an extra and a different value, and makes it more interesting. Now, one thing that is important on roses is that the center of the rose, if you see the picture, the center of the rose is always darker, and then the petals can tend to be lighter on the outside. So that's what we're gonna do, but I'm going to go around the whole flower, and then I will add those darker values in the middle, okay? So let's keep on going. This is gonna be a long painting because this has a lot of details, but if you wanna stick up with me, we can do it faster. So let's do that. And here I didn't add that much of a difference. I'm gonna add this one over here on the top. And I have more of that red on my brush than the pink. But the key is to have different tones going on at the same time. And like, for example, here, I can make this part darker instead of the other one. I'm gonna start making this one darker, the one that is on top. See that? Okay. How many people are painting with me at the same time? Answer that on the Patty. Oh yeah, that's good.
No, not today. Oh, this Patty Dick is not. I'm in my car while Lou has a dental appointment.
Oh, there you go. You have a distraction.
I hope not.
Okay.
And I'm grateful that you're recording it because I'm gonna leave for a while too.
Oh no. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm recording it and I will put it on YouTube so you guys can do it again.
Thank you.
Try, yeah, that would be good. So I'm adding some of that darker color here on this side, right here. You see that? I don't know if you see it. Let me move this so you can see what I'm talking about because the camera on Zoom is not as sharp. See that? So this part over here is darker, this is darker, and over here is darker, okay? I usually work in a little bit of an angle, which it means it's like I put that board and I put something underneath, so it's not so totally flat. I like to have that little space towards me. Okay. Okay, keep on going real quick. And I'm gonna add more color here. And see, when I'm working by myself, I don't do all this testing that I do for you guys because I already kind of know how to control that. But when you're learning, it's good to test your colors before you actually put them on the paper. Although if it's too dark, you know how you fix it. You just put more water on your brush and you move the paint right away and it will be fine. That's the thing that people say, oh, watercolor is harder because of that. But I think that's what it makes it pretty, because the watercolor does it itself. You don't have to work so hard. So I'm dropping more of that darker red over here, and I'm dropping more over here. And I'm just playing. I mean, probably when I did this, I was looking at the actual photo, but I'm just trying to imitate what I did, my interpretation of that rose, which has a really beautiful color in reality. I don't know where Jeffrey got it. It's gorgeous. It's kind of like lavender, pinkish, whatever. I don't know. So that's what I tried to imitate here, but I put it more pink than lavender color. So I'm adding more red, more dark over here. And remember that little part over, it was kind of like a fold of the petal. I'm gonna make that darker so it stands out. There you go, darker. I'm going with more paint on my brush and I move it real quick. And I go to the edge of that. Now I'm going to add some lighter color underneath so it pops out. Lighter color, let's try it over here, like that. And I'm added next to it. So you have two values playing together and it will give you the shape of that petal right there. So this petal here, I'm gonna go lighter first and I will add more color towards the outside. So it makes it more interesting. So I'm gonna put those two reds together and I'm gonna drop that color right there. So because it's wet, it's not gonna move farther away from what I have, and it will add that that shape in them. It will make it look like it's alive. Okay. So we're almost done with that flower, believe it or not. Okay, I'm going over here, light over here. And my son is doing an interview at the same time we're talking here, believe it or not. So I got me distracted, I'm sorry. Here I have the color, a little too strong. So this is a big petal right here. I'm going to add more value. And I'm spreading it with my brush. I'm working wet on dry, remember, wet on dry. And I'm adding it all the way here. So here, there's a big, strong value. You see that? I'm gonna use that color again and drop some of that color right there. And I'm not afraid that it's gonna be too much. No, it's not. And when it's too much, what do? You use water and you spread the color towards whatever you wanna move it. See that? So I'm leaving it like that. And I'm gonna come with some more value here to the side. Not too much, just enough. And light over here underneath. Okay, this is the tricky part that you're gonna notice that it's not gonna look like a rose right away because I'm gonna let this dry first. And then later I'm gonna come with a darker value and define this center, okay? So we basically are done with the rose. And is Luana in the call, Marsha? Because I wanted to see if she was so excited about.
No, she's not. I don't see her on the call.
Okay, that's
She'll
fine.
probably look at the recording though.
Yeah, so she's gonna know that we've mentioned her.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I have all these petals done. I'm adding some color here to this petal on the outside because I want to. It's not like there's not a science into it. It's your intuition what it works out on watercolor. It's your own world. Do I sound like Bob Ross? Anyway, so I stretch this color here and I'm going to just move that color real quick because I want to make it lighter on the outside. And I'm going to leave this for now. And we're going to move on to the other flowers, okay? So what do? I clean my brush first because I'm going to work with that yellow, okay? My brush needs to be really clean. So let's try and see now it's clean. I'm using the same number. I have a number 8. And the reason why I'm using a number 8 is because you get more loose. If the smaller the brush, the tighter you're gonna be on your painting. So I'm doing a bigger one. And I'm going to come with this cadmium yellow that I have on this palette right here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm gonna come, actually, remember the center of the flower, don't touch that. Let's just fill out that color. And then you can actually put lots of value with your brush and then spread that color to the outside. So it gives them some volume. Okay. So I'm spreading the color on the outside. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that on the camera. Okay. And then I'm gonna do that on the other 4 petals. I'm going from the inside. Okay. I put a lot of value, put water on my brush and spread that color towards the outside. And do the same over here on this side. So you can see when you're painting flowers, what you're doing is building values one on top of each other. And because watercolor is more transparent, that's what you do. It's fun to leave some of that underneath value to have like that feeling of that softness of the petals. Okay, let's do that over here too. Dark, and then I put some water on the brush and I spread that color really well. Your mothers or granddaughters or whatever, whoever you're giving this to are gonna like this. This is a painting that could be for a grandma, for a daughter that has became a mother, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that color for now. Maybe I just drop some of that new gamboge that is a darker yellow that I have here. And I'm gonna drop that close to that dark part center of the flower. I'm just gonna drop little bit, just like that.
What color?
It's called new gamboge. Is color like a little darker than the yellow, the cadmium yellow. If you probably have it in the Ronda. And I'm going to spread that color a little bit, not all the way to the outside, just a little bit. You see how it gives a little volume to the flower. I'm leaving this blank right now. I'm not working on that yet. That will be some darker values. So I'm gonna let that dry for now. And then we're gonna move to the orange poppies. So clean my brush again, cleaning. And I'm gonna use this probably the new gamboge, why not? Let's use this one first as a base. And you understand what I'm doing. I'm building up values. I'm building that from lighter colors to darker colors. And the center of the flower is always gonna be darker. So I'm going to use that new gamboge and I'm gonna add some of that color on the middle, wet it with my brush and spread the color all the way to the outside. Okay. And I'm doing that all over the flower. Okay. Without touching the middle. Okay. So I'm wetting here and I'm spreading the color all the way. And here, I'm spreading with the water all the way to the outside of the petal. So that's my basic color for these flowers. Okay, gonna do that with the other flower. And then we add the other values. So here there's a little petal that goes underneath. So I'm gonna do that one too. And I'm gonna come darker underneath that petal. Why is darker? Let's think about this for a minute. When you have the sun coming in, there's gonna be parts of the flower that are gonna be lighter and some part of the flowers that are gonna be lighter because there's shadows in between. And that's what we're trying to imitate with the different values that you put on the petals, okay? So I'm going to use, now I'm gonna do this other one real quick, same idea. We add in the color on the center and then we spread with a little more water all the way to the outside of the petal. Okay, let's spread this out real quick all the way to the end of the petal. And then this one over here, I'm not painting the center. I'm leaving that for later. Okay. And I spread the color right away. Okay, so now I have these two similar to this one. So how am I gonna make it different? I'm gonna add the darker value right there. So I have this orange here. If you don't have orange per se on your palette, how do you make it? You mix yellow and red, period. That's the easy way. So this is the orange that I have. And if you don't have that, you don't have that orange like that, just use the yellow and some red and you will get the same color right there. You see that? Easy. So let's add some of that color on the outside. And I'm kind of putting on the outside of the already yellowish color that I had real quick with more water than anything. Leave some of that yellow underneath because it's fun. And I'm adding it the color over here. I'm dabbing, you know, that's what I'm doing. I'm dabbing the color. And right there. And I'm adding it over here. And I'm moving it towards the end. Try to leave some of that yellow underneath because that makes it fun. Okay. Now, I can come with darker color there and drop some of that red in there and it will get mixed really well. So see, if I do that, I'm kind of define those petals. And why not? You drop that color and then maybe you can spread some of that color and see what happens. Gives me a beautiful combination for this poppies. And I'm doing this over here on the bottom one. And I'm spreading that color right away. So see how watercolor, you don't have to work so hard to combine those colors. The colors combine themselves on the paper. And that's what is fun about it. Gonna add some of that red. I don't know the name of that red. Let me look and see my list. It's orange vermilion. It's a little lighter red, but that gives a good feeling of the poppies. And I'm just putting on top of the other colors, but not too much, okay? Just spread the color and let the colors combine themselves. So let me show you here on the camera. I'm gonna move this again. And you see what I'm saying? So you start getting all different values right then. Okay. Now let's move on. The key to this painting is the background, believe it or not, because the background will make these flowers pop. But before we do the background, we have to paint some of these values of this flower, of these leaves. So when we come and use the darker values around, it's like we're working in negative, these things will come out. So let's put some of the lighter colors, lighter greens on these leaves and these ones over here. And then I will do some of these. And then we use the bigger brush to work out the background, okay? So that's the plan. Let's do the leaves now. I'm going to use my lighter green here. It's called green gold, I think is the name. See, I had to memorize these names. It's called rich green gold, okay? That's what I'm gonna use in this leaf specifically. And all these colors that I use are Daniel Smith, if you're wondering. Here, so I'm gonna use that. And we're working still wet on dry. And we're just gonna fill up with the color, light color, just like that. And that's it. And this is one leaf. The other leaf has some lighter green that I have on the other palette. I'm gonna use that lighter green here. Maybe I try it first on my thing, and it's kind of like that tone, believe it or not. It's not that strong. You see that? So I'm gonna add that over here and fit it inside that leaf. And if it gets too strong, you just put water and you spread the color right away. Okay. And then this one has like a combination of colors. So I will use the rich green gold again as a base. And I painted the shape of those leaves, like the rose flowers. And I dropped some other color on top. And I spread it, okay? I spread that color. Right there. And this one that is kind of darker in the back, that looks kind of grayish actually. And I'm gonna use this gray that I have here. And I'm gonna put it right there, really light. Let me do it, hold on one second. Need more paint on my brush. And I'm going to add it up right there. So I'm going with light values. Why I'm doing that? Because I want to use the darker background to make these things pop. Okay. Now these ones, when I made the painting, I probably didn't even have those leaves, but I'm gonna just do it the way I show you on these ones. So let's do this one, this little tiny one here first with the lighter green. And this one is a little stronger. So I have a lot of greens on my palette. I love greens. So it's good to have them when you have something like this, because you can play with different tones at the same time. So that's what I'm going to do. Now this one over here, I actually made a negative painting about it, and I will show you this with the background. So I'm not gonna paint that right now. Just gonna leave it like that. And I'm going to come and do with the rich green gold that little stem that I have here from the poppies. And we just leave it like that. Okay, so basically I think I have most of the painting. I'm not gonna do these ones yet because I'm gonna use the background to define those. So let's work on the center of that rose. I'm gonna use a smaller brush, maybe a number 2. And I'm gonna come and define the center of that rose. I'm going to use that opera pink and this other red together like that. And I'm coming kind of like with a dry brush effect. I'm gonna come and define the center of that rose. You see that? I'm following those little lines that I painted before. Now, if it's too stiff, like it looks right now, what you do is you just put some water on your brush and you spread that color. And it doesn't look with hard lines anymore. You see that? Now, the color that I have here, it was a little darker and I want to put more value. So what do? I come back and put some of that value there because it makes it look more realistic. And somebody sent me a message and I would just spread that color with my brush. You see that? And then when you have this, you start looking and see what parts need a little more definition. So I would say over here, it needs a little more definition. Turn this off. 1 second. And I'm going to put some more definition right here. I spread the color really well. And maybe over here. So I come with the darker value and put some more of that. And then here, maybe some more of the color here. Okay. So I'm defining the petals better. That's what I'm doing. And this is what most people that when you see, oh, they work in layers. That's what it's called working in layers. It's not like that. Some people paint roses just with one stroke. I can do that too, but I think this one looks more realistic if you take this approach. Okay, so I'm gonna spread that color there because it looks like a stain. And so I'm just defining some of those petals in some areas. Make it more fun. See? That's right there. And I'm spreading the color. Maybe we can define this over here a little bit so it has more value. Okay. So I have the rose mostly done. Now I'm gonna move to that yellow poppy on the top. And that's the exciting one because it has that brown center. And I will show you how to do that in a second. So I'm gonna leave this one dry. I'm gonna come to this one. So I'm going to use this really skinny and interesting brush that has a pointy side. It's called like a needle brush. So if you don't have this, I probably don't because this is a really specific one that I use. You can use a smaller size brush like the one I was just using. And let's pretend that's the one I'm going to use. And then I will come with this pointy one and do those little dots. So for the center of the rose, this is the color that Rhonda always asks me. I'm going to use the dark brown, the darker brown, or the burnt umber. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to kind of like dab with the brush like this. Look at this. You see that? I'm dabbing. but with the point. And I'm gonna spread that color just a little bit. So it's not only dots, you know what I'm saying? And then I will add some of the sepia, which is even darker, that I have on my palette here. This is that sepia color. It's an even darker brown. And I will add some of that right there to make it even more interesting. So I'm just dabbing with the point of my brush. Okay. I hear the Amazon truck outside. Isn't that funny? Anyway, I have now this pointy one. You can use a really tiny one that you probably have in your collection of brushes, like this one, the number 0, that will work too. And what you can do is just with the pointy of your brush, you're gonna define those little dots, those little, how you call it? It's like the pollen of the flower. And I'm going to just use that and make it those little dots in there to make it more interesting. Okay. I don't know if you see that. Okay. And you can even move them so it doesn't look so stiff. Okay. Now, if you noticed here in the original, I have some kind of lines in there. Let's do that because it makes it look way nicer. So I'm going to use, what happened to my number 2? I have a number 0. It disappeared on me. Oh, there it is. So I'm gonna come with some darker value right there, some orange color. I'm gonna make some little lines because it looks way nicer like that. I'm gonna make these little lines very, very careful. Not so dry, so they move. Okay. And here, and over here on this side, and on this side. Okay.
What color?
That's an orange, just a little orange. I don't know if you can see it on the, it will look kind of like this. You see that? It's a darker value. I'm gonna put, believe it or not, I'm going to use a little burnt sienna also, but really light to make it more interesting. Here, that's the burnt sienna. Okay, and that's what I think I added there. Let me move this. I keep on moving this, I'm driving you crazy. Here, some of that burnt sienna. And because it's wet, it's gonna look really pretty. And then we move it around. Okay. That's it. Okay, any questions so far? Because I feel like I'm talking to myself the whole time. You guys have any questions, any comments? I'm hearing to answer anything. Even on the chat, it's okay.
I just want to say it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
I think that's very talented to be able to talk and paint at the same time
Yeah,
and explain yourself as you go.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So let's do this center now, the center of this one. So I'm going to come with some of that. I already have it on my brush, so why not use it? I have some of that burnt sienna, but it's not too dark. So guess what? I'm going to add my burnt umber that is darker over here. And then what I'm going to do is use my pointy one again with some of that sepia color and do the pointy, the little dots that we used before to define this little flower. This thing got a little too wet, so it's not cooperating. So this is what happens. You just have to dry your brush a little bit.
What color is sepia? Is it a brown?
Sepia is a really dark brown. Yeah.
Okay.
If you probably have it on your palette, and if you don't, let me tell you how you make it. You can have the darker brown that you have on your palette that probably is burnt umber, and you mix it up with a gray color. Any gray color, any black color that you have in your palette, that will work. Payne's gray is a color that people probably have. So let's see, let me show you. This is what is good about this. I have burnt umber, and I have some of that Payne's gray here. Let me see, this is Payne's gray. And see, that's the sepia color. You see that? It's a really dark brown. And that's what you just have to do to make it darker. So I have this guy already done. Maybe I can add some neutral tint. This is another color that I use a lot. And it's a color that kind of tones down the other colors, but it gives a darker tone. So I'm gonna add some of that. And I'm dabbing with the point of my brush. I did that center now. And I even like what I did here. See, this is what is fun about this. You have to imitate what you did before. I'm gonna use some of that darker, maybe some, believe it or not, alizarin and crimson, and I'm gonna come here and define those petals because they look more fun when they're defined. But you don't leave those dark, you don't leave those hard lines. You just spread that color with the water. And it mixes with what you have underneath. See that? Okay, so that is defined. Let's define this guy. I got a water there. Hello.
You making flowers?
I'm making my son here is asking what am I making? I'm painting a Mother's Day card. Yeah.
I mean, I went on a hike and I got a bunch of allergies.
Uh-oh.
Do you have allergy medicine?
In the cover. Okay, so I have, again, the same technique. I'm dabbing with my brush and I'm putting the burnt umber with Rhonda. She knows that color by now. And I'm dabbing. And I'm going to come with my little tiny brush and add the sepia color to just add those little dots for the flower. And just to finish that flower, I'm gonna put some of that alizarin and crimson in there to define those petals. Okay, I'm gonna define those petals because they look more fun. See, okay, and I spread the color. Oh my God, he really got allergies with the. We're getting allergies in this house with so many flowers.
Which ones are they?
Okay. So I have the flowers ready. Let's move on to the fun part, guys, and is the background. So what did I use in the background? I used all kinds of colors in my background, and I'm gonna tell you the colors. I have some purples. I have some lavender color. I have neutral tint. I have some greens in here. And I have some even pinks and light greens. So it's a combination of a lot of colors and you see, wow, how did she manage to do that? Well, it's an easier way to do that. And it's you water your paper with a big brush. Here. Okay, I have this huge brush. I don't know, whatever brush you have. This is called a mop brush. And I'm going to, Marsha, can you mute people so they see my paint? Okay. I'm going to wet some of parts and I'm gonna drop colors on the paper. And this is the fun part, guys. Many people are scared of it and I love it. I think this is the best part of the painting. And you see, every time you do that, the painting is not gonna be exactly like the one that you're trying to copy because of the colors are doing their work themselves. So I'm gonna water with clean water. I'm gonna wet my paper, okay? But I'm not gonna go all the way because I'm gonna go little by little, okay? So I'm gonna do this part over here, all the way. Don't water the inside of the flower, just the outline of the flower, and maybe over here because I'm gonna do this with the negative paint. So I'm wetting this right away. Let's wet all the way over here. Okay, so your paper is gonna be moist, basically. So let's do this part right here. And I'm gonna drop some colors. So I use maybe right there, I use some kind of like lavender color. You see that color that I have here? This is a new color that I just got and I really like it. It's actually not lavender, it's lilac. This is the color and it's from Holbein. Really cute color. So I'm gonna use that as a part of the right there on the corner. And while I have that color going in there, guess what? I'm going to drop a little bit of green. And I'm gonna use that deep sea green on top of it. You see that? And I get these two colors going on. It doesn't look that exciting in the camera because it's so light. And then I have some turquoise color tone going on in there. And I'm just kind of like dabbing and dropping the color right there. See that? And because it's wet, it's gonna give you a really nice movement. Okay, so let's put some more of that. And remember, I'm gonna say the same thing that I always say, watercolor always dries lighter. So don't panic. If you think you have way too much color, the color is gonna be lighter when it dries. So I used here one color that is called Moon Glow. It's kind of like a darker purple. See that? I'm gonna drop that over here next to the rose. Very carefully, I wanna go inside the rose. And I'm gonna drop it right there. See that? Because it's wet, it's easier to spread. See that? I'm dabbing with my big brush. That's what I'm doing. Dabbing. Let me move this from here because it's in the way so you guys can see. And I'm going that way. And as you can tell on the original, I probably worked out this a couple of times to have that darker tone. You see, because with the first tone it's really light. So I had to put more paint on my brush so make it darker volume right there. See that? And maybe I can even add, because I can, more of that turquoise color. And look how beautiful the combinations turn out. Don't go over this flower over the leaves. The leaves need to be leave alone. Okay. So I add some of the neutral tint here to make it darker. And I'm just dabbing colors. That's what I'm doing. See that? Now I'm gonna move the other direction because I had it wet right there. And I probably use some lighter color, lighter turquoise color. And I'm gonna use that over here. And then to come out with this green leaf over here, I'm gonna use that light green, that rich green gold that I have here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm playing with the colors and dropping them in there where the paper is wet. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Be careful with the, don't go inside the flower, okay? I know how to control my brush. It has a nice point. So I can do that. I'm going to add more, maybe let's add some of this darker green over here. And I don't know if I can, oh, this part is not wet, so let's wet this part. Let me wet this part first. And I'm gonna come really careful inside these two flowers. I'm gonna do it over here. And I'm gonna keep on adding colors. I'm gonna add this turquoise color here. And some of that neutral tint in here. You see, because when it's wet, it's gonna go only to where the paper is wet. So I have that control. The flowers are already dark, so the color won't go inside them. But that's why you have to be careful and work with the wetness of the paper. So now you understand why I glue the paper to the board, so the paper doesn't buckle up all over the place. Okay. Now I'm going to get the rest of the paper where I'm gonna clean my brush, and I'm gonna use clean water to the rest of this, so I can do the same thing all over the rest of the paper. So I'm gonna do that over here, over here. This is a really great brush. Expensive though, but really good. And it's big, but it has a good point. And I learned recently that we cannot buy any more Kolinsky or natural brushes here. Believe it or not, the US has banned that kind of brushes. So whatever is available, go and buy them now, because they're not going to be available later on. They don't want to kill more animals for brushes. Isn't it, Marsha?
Yes, it's a vicious, it's a nasty practice of
I
what
know.
they do to get the Kolinsky
Yeah.
hair. Yeah,
And the animals are so cute. I saw that. I was like, oh,
yeah.
no wonder they want to do that. And believe it or not, they almost all come from Russia. Those brushes. I mean, the animals. I
The
mean.
animals, yeah, they can breed them, but even, yeah, the breeding facilities are awful.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So they ban them now in the States. So basically what we need, what we have, I actually think that they still have the what is that called? The squirrel. The squirrels are okay. And then the people are buying more synthetic brushes, which work pretty good. So no need to panic about it. So here I see some blues. So I'm gonna add some blues on this side because I can, anyways, because I want to. And let's add some of that. And let's come from some darker value here. Maybe let's put some greens because I like the greens. And you're basically making like a stain around with this technique. And I'm adding more darker value here. So see, when I add the darker value, the flowers come out. That's how it works. And here there's some pink, believe it or not. So let's put the pink. And some green on top. If you see some of those master painters doing, that's what this is how they work. They work super wet. And they are not afraid to just drop colors one on top of the other and let the paint do the job. So that's what we're trying to do here. Be a little more free, less control, more fun. Okay. So we just have this rest of here, and then we will dry with the hair dryer, and I will do the negative painting from the leaves, and that will be it. So wow. It's been a fast, and I'm so glad you guys are staying here with me this whole time. Okay, so I'm going to use the clean brush and wet this also. And wetting this part over here too. And I'm gonna drop some of those colors there too. I see a lot of that moon glow, so which is that darker purple. And I'm gonna add it over here. And I see a lot of that light green over here in the bottom. So I'm gonna put it on. And more of that moon glow mixed with the green, and it's pretty, believe it or not. More color. And let's add some more in here. This part is gonna be hard with this brush because it's a little too big. I'm gonna use a smaller size brush to have a little control in between those leaves and the rose. So I'm gonna use a number 12. It's still big, but not as big. And I'm gonna use that moon glow there. Let's see if it wants to cooperate. See that it's a little smaller, the point of that brush, but that will give me a little more control of this area specifically. And let's add some of that darker value in between the leaves over here. Okay, here is this, the original has more values over here, so I'm gonna put them in there. See how exciting it is. It's starting to look really nice. I don't know if it looks that nice in the picture over there where you're looking at, because the camera really takes a lot of the nice colors that you get in reality here. Okay, I think I add a little bit of tallow blue right here in this flower. So with the pointy of this, I'm gonna add it and see how much fun is that. You see that? Comes to life. And I'm gonna spread it, and I'm gonna maybe add some of the green over here, darker green. And I don't know how you guys doing with this. Hopefully well. So what I do now is I kind of define some of those flowers with the point of my brush, so they look like flowers, not like blobs. And I will spread the color with my brush itself. And put some more of the value here. The value here. And I'm going to move that. So the background is very important in this painting. I think it makes the painting. And that's why it's important to know how to manipulate these colors. In the classes that I teach, what I usually do, I mean, we're doing just a demo here, but what I usually do, and maybe some of the students are that, is that I make them practice this the specific skill that we're gonna learn first in another paper before we go in the actual painting. And that gives them a little more confidence the second time around to be able to manipulate all the colors and the brush strokes and all that stuff. So I do that, and I think it works out very well. Let me put some of that tallow blue here on the side of this flower. I think it's fun. And I don't want to keep on messing with this because there's going to be a leaf underneath there. So let's move that. And okay, so I think I'm done with the background. It looks like all kinds of colors of the rainbow there. I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to use my hair dryer so we can define these leaves at the end. Okay, so let me get my hair dryer here. You guys can ask questions or whatever, and Marcia will be there to monitor that. So let me mute myself.
If any of you were interested in the Kolinsky brushes and what's happening, I put a link to an article in the chat if you want to look it up.
Are the brushes made of sable or what? The Kolinsky brushes. I can't hear you.
Sorry, couldn't unmute myself for a second. Yeah, it's made from sable, and I believe there's like a rare species of a weasel.
Oh, because this is a white sable brush right here, and I was just wondering, you know what?
Yeah, and I mean they work really great. I've
Yeah,
bought them
that's what I
too, but yeah, just to get the brush, you know, the animal suffers and dies. I mean, just
That's
for a
right.
watercolor brush, yeah.
Well, I have some Da Vinci brushes that are, I'm trying to think, I don't see what they're made of, but let's see.
Da Vinci can be synthetic.
I think it probably is.
Yeah, sometimes there's squirrel too, which is okay because they can get the squirrel tail easy without, you know, killing the animal.
Mhm. Yeah, here's another white sable brush, the long one here.
Yeah, I know. I have sable brushes too.
When I was taking watercolor classes at San Jose State, they were saying that you should have sable brushes. That was one of the things that was required. So
yeah, well, they work great because they hold the water so well. I can see why. Oh, I can see a woodpecker in your on your feeder behind you on the other side.
Oh, that would be, oh yeah, yeah, right.
Hello guys, I'm back. I'm sorry I couldn't hear anything because I was having the hair dryer going. So what was going on?
Oh no, I was just chatting. I put a link to an article in the chat about what's going on with Kolinsky brushes.
Oh, thank you. That's an interesting.
Yeah, I just Googled. It talks about like the ethic of art materials and stuff. So
okay. Good job, Marcia. She's a good moderator. You would be boring just like looking at me.
you're way more entertaining.
Okay, so I tried this. So we're gonna work on the what I just said, the negative painting, which is making this interesting leaves in there. So I'm gonna use maybe my number 8. Let me see, what is my number? My number 8 right here. And I'm gonna come with the point of my brush. And I'm going to use some light green, some green, any green. Let me see if this green works. Oh no, that's not the green. I think I use this green over here. Let's see, this green. And I'm going to come and trying to go outside. When I say negative painting, let me explain. Is that you work from the outside to get the shape inside. And see this. I'm going to make the shape of the leaf from the outside. Okay, so I'm coming from the outside, making that shape. You see that? And I'm going to add more color here. And maybe more color here. and here. And then what do? I use a bigger brush and I spread that color to the background. See that? So the leaf comes alive, and what you see is the leaf, not the background. And I'm gonna add some of that turquoise color here. So the leaf will come to life. Okay, so I'm adding those colors and I'm moving the paint with my brush. I'm making it wet. And moving that all over the place. And there's one leaf right there. So how do I define that leaf? I will grab my pointy brush and I will come and use and paint those veins in the inside of the leaf. See that? And then I will just do that. That maybe define a little bit of the edges because it's kind of fun. And then that's it. You have a leaf right there. So that's the negative painting. Let's do another one on the other side. I'm gonna add some of that nice blue here. Okay. Now I have another one here. So I'm going to define it too. One way or the other, I can do maybe some, no, let's do the same way. Let's do the same way, why not? I'm gonna come with some neutral tint and I'm going to imitate the shape of the outside of the leaf. Just there. And I'm going to spread that color to the background. Okay. A little bit more. This is one side, okay? This is not the whole side. And with the pointy of my other brush, I'm gonna come the other direction. And this is not collaborating because it's too wet. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Let me try it over here. Yeah, now it's wet. Now it's good. That's why you had to dry the paper, because that way you have control of that. And then I'm gonna have kind of like the shape of that leaf right there. And then I will come and put that vein in the middle, but not the whole way. You can always divide lines. So the eye knows it's a vein, but you don't have to go all the way, you know, just do that. Maybe some suggestion of a leaf right there. You see that? This one can use some of that definition here. Look at that. It needs a little more definition. And it comes to life. You see? Now I have another one here. So let's use my pointy brush and work out the shape from the outside. Okay, and then I do those lines. Now here on my original, I have a darker value. I can always come with my bigger brush and add some of that darker value right there so the stuff pops out. Right there. And you don't want a hard line, so you just spread that color close to that leaf. See? And here also I can add a little more color. So here I'm gonna add some of that gray, and the leaf will come up. Okay. So you're always playing with the colors that you have in the background. Now, let's define this one over here and all these leaves over here and this here. And I think by that time we'll be done. So let's do this one over here. I'm gonna paint the outline of that leaf. And then the outline of this one, this little tiny one. And then the one over here. Then I have the veins over here. This stem has a little line, so I'm gonna add it here so it pops out. And let's define these ones on the other side, right here. So I'm gonna use that same green, and I'm going to define the shape of these ones I already paint. And see how fun is this brush with the long point? It gives you that control. And I will just add the lines of the little veins of the leaves, and then I will define this one also. So we're working with details now. And when you work with details, you use a smaller brush. You can use your rigger brush. You know what the rigger brush is? I didn't talk about that. It's this little really pointy and long brush. This is perfect for that too. You see that? So I use that, or I use my needle brush. And I will define the edges of these leaves over here, and same over here. I will come inside and define this, and also same with this one. So I'm working with just the details of the painting. Okay, I think we are almost done. Maybe a little more details, but don't go overboard. It's so easy to go overboard. I got a little dot of green on my yellow leaf. So how do I fix that? I can just come with a scrub brush like this one, and I would just scrub it out. If you let me. It's not letting me. And it went away. We use some paper towel, and it's gone. Okay, so let me see, what else can I fix? Last minute things. I don't like these super hard lines, so I'm going to move them a little bit because it's more fun to have that spread out. And see what I'm doing? I'm just putting some water on my brush and moving the stuff around. And that's it. Okay, guys, I think this painting is done. So I will sign it right here. And let's do what the artists do all the time, take away the tape. So see how it looks without that green horrible tape. So ta-da. Let's peel it off. When you peel it off, just be careful because the paper is still wet. And just very careful and try to go down. So we take one. Take the other one. Take this one. And the last one. Okay. We have a Mother's Day card, guys. Look. Okay.
Yes, I think our cards look a little different from yours.
Thank you. Well, you can turn off the recording and we can talk about it, Marcia, if you want.
Sure, I'll stop the recording now.